This is Pablo from Salto, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do a partial deployment of Salesforce flows using Salto. So let's say I have this flow in my integration sandbox, and then the same flow exists in production. Now in production, as you can see, the flow is a lot smaller. It only has the start element, and then the assignment element has two assignments here. In UAT, we have changes from multiple developers, not just mine. For example, the assignment has an additional assignment here for the account name. We also have a create records element and a send email. Now, as I said, let's imagine that the only change that I did is this one here of the send email. And these two other changes, the create accounts and the additional assignment, are not mine. They are someone else's. And we're not ready to deploy those to production because they haven't been tested. So the problem is, how can I deploy just this version or this bit of the flow without having to use a complex git merge or having to use a different branch? So let me show you how you can do it with Salto. So I'm here in Salto and I'm going to create a deployment called partial deployment of flows. And I'm going to click compare and deploy to see the differences between my orgs. Now what I've done is I filtered the search here using the flow name. And if I open the flow here, I can see the flow metadata in a document-like format. Notice how this looks pretty much like a Google Doc, which is a lot better than reading complex XML. The sections in green here represent the new things that I added to this flow. In this case, the action calls is the email alert that I'm interested in. And as you can see, it's all in green, representing this is brand new. This is going to be deployed to your next org. If we scroll down here, then we can see the record create, which is also green because it doesn't exist in production, right? If we go back, we see that this is the create accounts element, and in production, that doesn't exist. And that's why it's in green. Now here's the cool part. I said that I don't care right now about this change here, this new assignment. And I also don't care about the create accounts element. I just want to deploy the email alert. So in Salto, as you can see, I can actually choose which parts of the flow I want to deploy. So because I'm not interested in the record create element, I'm just not going to select it. That's it. Now I do want the action calls because that is where we send the email alert here. So I'm going to select that. And then if we open up the assignments here, we see that again, this new assignment is in green because that's the new assignment that was added. Again, I'm not interested in that assignment. So all I'm going to do is not select it. That's it. Now you will also notice that the assignment element has a connector, which basically points to the create accounts element. That means that we go from assignments to create accounts, but we don't want to do it. We actually want to go from assignment straight to send email. So I'll show you how I can fix that here very quickly. What I need to do first is choose the connector. Even though we're not going to include create accounts, we're still going to add this element here because we need it for the next step. Now I'm going to go up and get the name for the send email alert. And that's it. Now let's go ahead and preview the deployment. Now we have the deployment preview, which is basically Salto showing us the version of the flow that is going to be deployed. So as we can see again, we have the send email alert. And we don't have the create accounts element because we didn't include it. And also our assignments only include the first two assignments. We don't have the third one here that we did not want. Now we do need to fix the connection here because as you can see, the connector is pointing to create accounts, which is not part of the flow. We want this connector to point to these action emails. So we can easily do that by editing this before we deploy it to our org. Now here on the edit mode, I'm just going to search for create accounts and I'm going to replace it with send email, which is the ID for that other action. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to understand what's going on here. Literally, that's all you have to do. So I'm going to save that and then click on Update Plan. And now look at that. We have again the flow with the action call, and the assignment points to that action call to send an email. Now the moment of truth is, let's see if we can actually deploy this to our org and see what the flow looks like in the target environment. Okay, the deployment has succeeded, so now let's go to Salesforce and see what happened. So I'm back here to my target org, and I can see that a new flow version has been created. Let's open it up and see. And there you go, look at that. So we have the assignment with only the 2 assignments that we care about, and it straight jumps to that email alert. So we effectively deployed this flow using a partial deployment where we were able to be very specific about which parts of that flow we wanted to deploy. I don't know about you, but for me, this is amazing. Thanks for watching.